Hi friends, and welcome to Folklore Diaries. Here, we share real-life horror stories and chilling legends from around the world. Some of them happen to our listeners, others have been passed down for years. So get comfortable but stay alert, because the next story might just keep you awake tonight. And if you like true horror stories, consider subscribing. Okay, let's begin. This story was sent to us by a man named Bhupen. The incident happened with his elder brother Bikash. It took place in a small South Asian country, in a quiet rural village surrounded by rice fields and narrow dirt roads. Life there was usually slow and peaceful, but what happened to Bikash one humid summer night has stayed with him for the rest of his life. He insists that every detail you're about to hear is true, and that the memory still sends a chill down his spine whenever he thinks about it. It was the year 2001. Bhupen's elder brother, Bikash, had just passed his secondary school exams with excellent results. He performed very well despite living in a very remote hilly area where school facilities were poor. His family and his teachers were very happy with him. As a result, his family gave him considerable freedom. Earlier, they used to monitor him strictly, not allowing him to go outside after evening and so on, but those restrictions were mostly lifted now. Bikash had planned to move not to the country's main city, but to a divisional city, Chirang, where he had relatives, to continue his studies. Meanwhile, he spent his free time quite well. He had a bad acquaintance named Subrata, who was about 5 years older than him. Subrata's house was quite close, but to reach there one had to walk a long footpath through the hills. Subrata's home was in an extraordinary place, on top of a hill, surrounded by trees and greenery, with a slope going down. There was a small platform there, where Bikash would sit and chat with Subrata and his uncle. They had a close relationship. On the way there, Bikash would pass by the riverbank where local fishermen's boats were docked. He knew many of the fishermen and had good relations with them. Sometimes, when it got late at night on his way back, he would sit for a long time talking with them by the boats, sometimes even sitting inside the boats. Since Bikash was a good student, his family never said much about his coming home late, so he had almost no restrictions. The path to Subrata's house passed through some dangerous areas, especially after dark, where people were afraid to walk. Locals said that the hills nearby were DOA, a place with spirits or some dark presence, so people avoided those paths at night. One day after sunset, Bikash went to meet his uncle at Subrata's place. His uncle could play the flute very well, and Bikash had been practicing the flute for a long time to learn from him. They spent some time together, and then night fell. After eating there, Bikash started back home. It was about 11 p.m., very late for that remote hilly area in 2001. As he walked, the sky rumbled and heavy clouds gathered. He knew it might rain soon. Near the lake, where usually 4 or 5 boats were docked, one boat was there with a small lamp burning inside. As he watched, light rain started falling. Bikash decided to hurry and took shelter under the boat's canopy. From under the canopy, he noticed someone sitting bent over near the side of the boat, head wrapped in a towel. The person was wet from the rain. Surprised, Bikash asked, "Who is this? Why are you sitting here in the rain?" There was no answer. Only faint light from the lamp was visible. Bikash thought it might be the boatman, named Prodip, who was an older man and someone he knew well. Bikash stayed silent and waited until the rain eased. Suddenly, the boat began to move forward, slowly drifting into the lake. Bikash asked, "Prodip, where are you going now?" Prodip only nodded and gestured forward. Bikash was uneasy but went along, thinking he might help catch fish. The boat went deeper into the lake, near tall hills on both sides and a waterfall nearby. Bikash knew this area was dangerous and usually avoided it, especially at night, as there were rumors of robbers. Prodip didn't speak much but indicated to keep going. Finally, near the waterfall, Prodip stopped the boat and got off, walking over slippery rocks toward a small clearing by the waterfall. Bikash followed nervously. In that dim moonlight, Bikash saw Prodip sitting quietly, just as before, his head wrapped in a towel, motionless. Bikash asked why he was there, but Prodip just told him to be quiet. Suddenly, Bikash's fear increased. He realized something was not right. Prodip's head suddenly came off, revealing a terrifying face underneath. The person said his name was Bhupen, someone Bikash had heard about before, a friend of his uncle's who had been killed years ago by robbers. Bikash panicked and ran, slipping and hurting his knee badly, bleeding heavily. He tried to stop the bleeding while running back to the boat. Behind him, he heard the voice threatening to finish him off. Despite his injury, Bikash managed to get into the boat and push off toward shore. He kept hearing the voice telling him he would not be spared. Exhausted and terrified, he finally reached the shore near his village. There was no one around. The whole area was silent. His knee was hurting badly and bleeding a lot. With great difficulty, he walked the path through the forest and bamboo groves toward his home. Suddenly, he heard a whisper from the bushes and smelled the scent of blood. His heart pounded as he saw the head-wrapped figure again, holding a curved sickle. Fear overwhelmed him. The figure threw something at him, tightly binding his shoulder, causing pain. Bikash screamed loudly. Then the head came off again, revealing the horrifying body standing before him. In the distance, Bikash saw some people coming with torches. The vision faded, and he lost consciousness. When Bikash woke up, he was lying beside the pond near his house, badly injured. His head throbbed, and his clothes were torn and soaked. The first thing he saw was the circle of worried faces, his family, relatives, and neighbors, standing over him. Some held lanterns, others had tears in their eyes. His mother gripped his hand, asking over and over what had happened. Bikash, still trembling, told them everything, the strange voice calling his name, the figure in the shadows, and how it had led him deeper into the forest. He described the man's face, the blood on his shirt, and the way his cold, lifeless eyes seemed to pull him forward. As he spoke, the expressions of the older villagers changed. They glanced at each other uneasily. Finally, his uncle broke the silence. "Yes," he said in a low voice, "there was a man like that. His name was Bhupen. He lived here many years ago." Bikash listened as they told the story. Bhupen had been a well-liked villager, a fisherman who often worked near the same canal where Bikash and Tupun had gone that night. One evening, while returning from the market, he was ambushed by robbers. They beat him, took everything he had, and left him for dead near the forest. Some say he crawled toward the village, calling for help, but died before anyone found him. Others claim his body was thrown into the irrigation pond to hide the crime. No one ever caught the killers. The villagers buried him, but for years afterward, people whispered about hearing his voice at night, especially near the water or along the forest's edge. They said his spirit wandered, still searching for someone to hear his final call for help. That night, listening to the tale, Bikash felt the chill seep into his bones. The voice he had followed, the man he had seen, it was Bhupen. But why had the spirit chosen him? No one had an answer. From that day on, Bikash refused to go near the pond or the forest after sunset. And even now, some villagers claim that if you walk past the canal on a moonless night, you might hear a faint, desperate voice calling your name, just as it called his. Thank you for listening to tonight's story. If you enjoyed it, please like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And remember, not every shadow is empty, and not every voice in the dark is in your head. Good night, and stay safe.